Let's explore what kind of Oathbreaker deck we could make with the Wandering Emperor, and what signature spell would be best for it. She's a 4-mana planeswalker that starts at 3 loyalty and has Flash, which is pretty unique right there. As long as the Wandering Emperor entered the battlefield this turn, you may activate her abilities anytime you could cast an instant. +1, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains first strike until end of turn. -1, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. -2, exile target tapped creature. You gain 2 life. I think the most unique thing we could do with this is by trying to abuse the static ability. Instant speed loyalty abilities is pretty cool, and there are some ways that we can get multiple activations a turn off it. The first of which is Flicker. It's a 2-mana sorcery. Exile target non-token permanent, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If you target the Wandering Emperor with this will reset her loyalty back to 3, and you can activate her loyalty ability again. Flicker is also cheap enough that you could cast it a second time in a game and not feel too bad about it. There's some versatility in this card too. You can target their planeswalker if their loyalty is getting too high and you're afraid of them ultimating. That'll reset their loyalty. It can also re-trigger enter the battlefield triggers. It is a shame that Flicker is a sorcery though, that holds it back. Semester's End is a little bit similar. It's a 4-mana instant. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker. There's some upside here for sure. It's an instant, so you can use it defensively. It can target multiple targets. On the downside, you can't target their stuff, and everything comes back on the next end step instead of right away. I'm actually not sure how this works with activating the Wandering Emperor's loyalty abilities again. Can you still do it that turn? I'm not sure. If you know, please let me know in the comments. I tried to look it up, but I'm not clear on that. Cosmic Intervention goes about a similar thing in a different way. It's a 4-mana instant. If a permanent you control would be put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, exile it instead. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This means you could cast this spell, minus her to 0, then return her from the graveyard to the battlefield back at 3 loyalty, and then activate her loyalty ability again. Same kind of thing if they choose to attack her. You can cast this, then she dies, then she comes back, and you activate her loyalty ability on their turn. Well, to be fair, she comes back at the next end step, just like Semester's End, so if it works for that, it should work for this. And again, if you know the answer to that, please tell me. If you instead wanted to do a Samurai Tribal type of thing, Call to Glory might be alright. It's a 2-mana instant. Untap all creatures you control. Samurai you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Imperial Oath is a 6-mana sorcery that creates 3 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance, and then you scry 3. And Banishing Stroke is a 2-mana sorcery that destroys up to 1 target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature. Then if you control an artifact and an enchantment, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Last, I'm going to mention the Wanderer's Strike, partly because it's very thematic, but also because Proliferate works pretty well in this deck. It proliferates up the Planeswalker and the +1/+1 counters you're putting on stuff. Please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you like videos like this. You could even check out some of my many other videos I've got for Oathbreaker ideas.